My parents were very involved in the community. My mother was an elected official for years, but I understood as few others can what a toll that could take on the family. So I decided I wanted to do some aspect of community service. So I went to the Kennedy School at Harvard, and I made the decision to go into healthcare. And I felt like that was something, a mission that I could try to fulfill.
I've always been interested in social change, and initially I was approaching it from more of a political lens, and then learning more about Capital Good Fund, and I became really intrigued by direct service. What are really tangible solutions we can give people trying to move forward in their lives?
I started my career following my passion in real estate. As a kid, I used to walk around Manhattan and look at the buildings and want to go to the top of them. When I was in college, a finance professor motivated me to study real estate.
So the first job I got out of college was March of Dimes, and I was asked to help run a charity golf tournament with the Cleveland Browns, which is pretty close to sports. So I did that and had a lot of success, sold a title sponsorship to a lumber company for $100,000, didn't really know what I was doing, and then ended up selling one of the whole sponsorships to IMG.
A key part or decision point for me in terms of going to HR was when I was in graduate school at the University of Vermont and took a couple of courses in organizational behavior and HR. Did pretty well in them, enjoyed them, and thought I could do pretty well in this business. I thought I could make a contribution to the success of an organization. That was really probably the key point of when I decided to say that, HR is a good career for me.
We had 10,000 employees when I started 3 years ago. We have 20,000 now. So what we're doing and the kinds of people we're attracting and the talent we're developing is super exciting.
In the last 2 years, my role at the Commerce Corporation has evolved, and the Commerce Corporation has evolved from being a startup where we figured out the strategy, reorganized the entity, started to implement a number of our programs, and now we're in the market executing on them. So there's been quite a good evolution over the last 24 months.
When I first started working in technology, I was more on the engineering side, hands-on, sort of tactical, day-to-day. But of course, as I've grown in my career, I've become a little bit more strategic and end up in a role that has me focus more on the customer, big picture, and their strategy and needs.
So you look at today in terms of the need for talent, to attract, retain, engage, and develop talent. It's just huge, and much more so than it was years ago.
Much of my work now is involved in collaborative interactions and sort of working relationships with providers, as opposed to what it had been in the past, which was sort of adversarial and very, very negative, actually.
There's more patient-protected health information on more and more devices in the hands of, or the pockets of, or on the belts of clinicians. We need to make sure that is secure and protected so that we don't risk a breach of privacy.
Most people want to learn through an online presence, whether that's on their mobile phone or through a webinar. So we really had to adapt and adjust as an industry to cater to the changing needs of new incoming employees.
Things have changed quite a bit. If you think back 5 years ago, there were no Ubers and all that kind of thing. 10 years ago, people were just starting to virtualize their environments and making more efficiency with the equipment that they had. And even 20 years ago, the internet was barely a thing, and now it's something we focus on every day and do our jobs around.
As we transition from kind of our older legacy software systems to more modern systems and tools, it has changed. So we just transitioned to a new CRM software, which has been really helpful for us, helping to connect with our donors. And generally for the organization, technology, as we all know, has really changed the way we communicate.
Technology is challenging to begin with. In the past, our jobs were to make the computers work, and everybody was logging in through the computers and plugging in hardware. Now our challenge is cybersecurity.
I can't even imagine how we functioned in the paper record world. And the ability to know whether someone needs a flu vaccine or someone's had their mammography or they need a colonoscopy, and we can actually have access to data for the first time. I think we are providing care, safer care, higher quality care to patients more than we've ever done before, and it's only the beginning.
If you want a job like this, there's no secret hard work. You've got to work hard, you've got to be capable, you have to be a little bit lucky, but also get as much experience as you can in different fields, because when you sit at the top of a larger corporation, having a broad experience set is invaluable as different issues come across the table.
Work really hard, right? Be really curious. Don't just rely on your own intelligence to think that's going to get you there. I always say I'll hire a C+ player with a great attitude over an A+ player that thinks he or she knows it all already.
My advice to a young individual with their eye on a C-suite position is to stay tenacious. One of the things that I did early in my career that I wish I could tell my young self was, don't keep looking. Don't just jump and jump and jump and see if you can find the perfect job. I do remember a time early in my career at Preventure where things were changing. I actually, interestingly, got pulled from account management into sales because it was my history and something I'd done before, and was unhappy with that move. And I considered looking for a job at that time and thought to myself, well, I've looked at a few different places. Maybe if I just stick it out here.
Really don't worry so much necessarily about kind of getting up the ladder, but worry a lot about kind of what you're learning and how you're kind of facing into the next challenge.
Go that extra mile to really do your best, and the way I like to look at it is have that your work be a reflection of not only who you are, but also what you can do and what you can contribute, so people can kind of view an individual or you as a person that can not only do this job, but can do more.
What I tell them to do is to think big. Don't think about the day, where you are today. Think about where you want to be in 5 years or 10 years. It might not be at the path that you're on right now, but if you know people in the industry and you can connect with people in the industry, you can get where you want to be.
Success is a journey, not a destination. And I think about that with young people, and that on your journey, you need to be in the right culture. You can't go work for a company that is maybe 9 to 5 and structured and not flexible. If you're somebody who's all in, 24/7, you want to be on fire, doing something, involved, that's not a good culture for you. So find the right culture that fits you, and then from there, you're going to succeed.
I think the best part is coming into work every day and working with the staff I work with. I have a great staff, and they make my job easy because they follow through on everything they do. And watching technology change and making that change work is really fulfilling.
I just love this industry. It's the first time I've been involved in the construction industry as an HR person, but it's wonderful to be able to be an HR leader and help contribute to the success of the business. And it's pretty cool to put on a hard hat and go out on a job site, whether it's in Providence or LA or New York. I really love that part of my job right now.
I love learning, and I love feeling my brain stretch in different ways, and so I count myself lucky that I have a lot of really interesting problems to work on every day.
Well, I think the best part is the range of issues. I mean, when you look at the breadth of CVS Health, where we are as a company, where we play in the broader healthcare industry, we have over 5 million people come through our stores every day, and you think about the reach that brings to you. So our ability to influence issues, to shape them, I think that's probably the best part of the job.
Not enough time, needing to do more with less. Hurry up and run faster. But I think that just comes with the business, and I think it comes with the role, and I don't think I'd want it any other way. So it's even though it's something we like to complain about, it feels natural. Yeah.
The only negative I have is I have a 2.5-hour commute each day. So it's an hour and 15 minutes. I live in Massachusetts, and I didn't move because I had 5 kids in various stages of school. So that's a little bit difficult, but I'm a news junkie, so I listen to NPR, XM radio, so I know everything that's going around in the world, and so that's a really good time. It also gives me some time to think about my day, coming ahead, and so that's a good opportunity for me. But other than that, I love my job.
So I have difficulty shutting off. So when I go home, whether it's in the evening or on a weekend or even at the beach, it's hard not to check email related to work, and that drives me crazy.
I go to a lot of meetings. No, I mean, it's what's not to like. I love what I do, love going to work every day, so there's not really any downsides.
I have 2 young boys, so that's kind of the end of the story, right?
I have a husband and 2 young girls, 7 and 9, and they are troublemakers, and I like to hang out with them.
I'm a volunteer Cub Scout leader for my son's Cub Scout pack. I love doing that. I'm the cookie dad for my daughter's Girl Scout troop.
I love to read, but most important, I would say spending time with my wife and my daughter.
Well, my wife and I spend a lot of time down in South County. We have a 10-year-old son who is obsessed with fishing.
I enjoy photography. I enjoy taking in the natural beauty of Rhode Island. I mean, there's so much that the state has to offer, not just from a business perspective, of course, but natural beauty. We live down in North Kingstown near the water, and we try to enjoy that as much as we can. But yeah, usually it's whatever the kids want to do is kind of top of the list.